Now let's bring you today's perspective, and it's been described as a searing account of the refugee exodus sparked by the Arab Spring and ensuing Syrian civil war. The description of The Stranger's Case. It's a new film by my guest today. The film follows a series of families, perhaps most notably a Syrian doctor and her young daughter who decide to flee their homeland. The film premiered at the Berlin International Film Festival earlier this year. It stars, amongst others, the French superstar actor Omar Sy. We're going to talk to activist, writer and director Brandt Andersen in just a moment. But first of all, let's watch a little clip.
No. I'm offering one-way non-stop ticket to Greece. It will cost you $2,000 for an adult, $1,500 for a child. Dollars, not lira.
اسمعوا يا جماعة، العقد بيقول اللي عايز يروح اليونان $1,500 للأطفال و$2,000 للكبار.
We don't accept Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Only cash. No exchanges, no refund. You show up late, or you got caught, not my problem.
Omar Sy there in the film The Stranger's Case. Well, let's talk to it then. Then the writer-director Brandt Andersen, who joins us now. Thanks very much for being with us on the programme. Watching that clip, I mean, how on earth do you go about making a film that can capture, if you like, and do such a story justice?
You know, it's hard to do any story like this justice, a story where, you know, we have real people who are experiencing extreme trauma in their lives. The only thing that we try to go about doing is, particularly in this case, is just making sure that we're honest in the way that we're telling the story. I wanted to be honest in everything from, you know, little details of these tents that we were shooting in all the way down to the uniforms, the white helmets we're wearing in the film. Just really trying to stay in and do the best we could to tell the story of these people in just the most honest possible way.
Yeah, you see the situation, don't you, from many sides. From the Syrian side, Omar Sy there playing a smuggler in Turkey, also a Greek Coast Guard captain who spends his days and nights rescuing sinking lifeboats full of migrants. And then all those people, all those characters kind of come together, don't they, during the film?
Yeah, the idea was to try to tell this story from all different perspectives and try to help people see that no one gets out of this without being affected by the way that this actually takes place in someone's life, and that these stories, that we are all interconnected in our lives, and that something that happens on one side of the world also has an effect on the other side of the world. And I think if we can start understanding that our world is small and we are not so different, it will make a difference to people. We will start to see that, you know, we share the same love. We eat food. We want to be happy. Like, these things are not revolutionary. These are just human rights.
It's a very personal issue for you as well to make the film, isn't it? I mean, you're an activist yourself. You visited, for example, refugees and internally displaced people in Syria, also in Turkey and Greece, Jordan, here in France, even in Mexico. Why is it such an issue that's so close to your heart?
I mean, in France, I went to Calais. I just, during the Arab Spring, this became something that really just kind of touched me, and I wanted to find a way to see if I could help. And this is what came from it. This is what came from my heart. I can't explain exactly why. I don't know all the reasons, but I followed what I was feeling and had some help along the way from some amazing people, and this is what came out of it.
There's an awful lot nowadays, isn't there, of anti-migrant rhetoric. How do you feel when you hear and see that?
Well, of course, I'm for acceptance, and I don't approve of those things at all. That's not a part of my life. And my hope is that with a film like this, if people will see it and experience it, they might change the way they feel. And if not, it'll start the conversation for them. Migrants are, if you look at it in America or in Europe, migrants are such a great part of the foundation of who we are, and our countries would be so much less without the migrants. I mean, if you look at America, we're all migrants here in America virtually. And so like taking that and saying these are people who are important to us, and let's embrace these people and bring them into our lives and show them love. I just believe that there's no bad in this.
I heard as well that you actually, to bring all of what you've just said, if you like, home to the cast and crew working on the film. You even had refugees come every single day and tell their story to the people working on the film.
It's exactly. I just wanted it to be personal for everyone, and I learned this from a director that I had produced a movie for named Gary Marshall. He did it with comedy, and I thought on this film, how do I bring this in to do like a daily devotional so people, if we're working longer hours, we feel like we're still connected to the topic. And the idea was bring people in every day to share their story, the story of a crossing, the story of how they got to Turkey or Jordan, and it touched me every day and gave me the strength to direct and in a different way. And I believe with actors, we had these days where there were no dry eyes in the cast and crew. So every day we started our day with that. And it made the film much more real. It made it so we weren't just showing up to play make believe, which is what making movies is, but it made it so it felt very real to all of us. We realized there was greater purpose in this than just showing up and playing make believe.
Listening to you, we were watching some of the images from the film. It's obviously quite a difficult watch, but it's a very current issue, isn't it? Even stars Omar Sy, as we've said, and yet you found it quite hard, haven't you, to find distributors? Why do you think that's been?
Well, thanks for saying that you enjoyed watching it. I believe, this topic of migrants and what's taking place with refugees, distributors don't, I believe, understand that people will watch films like this. If you look at what happened in Deauville, we just played the film in Deauville to 1,500 people in a movie theater, and the film then won the audience award in Deauville. That's really no small thing, and to see that in France, I say, like, well, why don't distributors feel like people will see the film? And I believe it really comes down to marketing. They're not sure how do they actually market the film, but audiences have shown they want to see this film. It won the audience award in Deauville. It won it in Italy. It won it here in the United States. It won it in an Arab country in Jordan. It's clear it's spoken to audiences. It just hasn't spoken to distributors.
And just briefly, just got time to ask you, you actually became interested in all these issues, partly, if I can say it, thanks to Donald Trump.
Well, that's right. That is an interesting story. Actually, I was in Turkey with refugees, and I was headed back from Turkey, and was informed that the president at the time President Trump had enacted a laptop ban. So they took my laptop and checked it beneath the plane. I went and bought a pad of paper, and I penned the story, at least the skeleton of it, on my way back to the United States. So I would say yes. That's a very interesting connection. Thank you for making it.
Thanks you very much for joining us on the programme today. Brandt Andersen, activist, writer and director of that film, The Stranger's Case. Hopefully you will get to see it at some point, or will be able to see it at some point when it is distributed a little bit further. Thanks very much to him joining us there.